YouTube says it has had enough of vaccine misinformation on its site.
And false stories from phony sites to run circles around major news outlets.
Many people don't know the difference between something real and something created to deceive them.
Open your eyes.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
The dramatic and deadly descent captured on security camera. This footage, according to Brazilian first responders, showing the harrowing moments one chopper plummeted to the ground after colliding with another helicopter over Rio de Janeiro. Flames and plumes of black smoke pouring into the sky. There was a huge boom, this woman says. This man says he saw one chopper on fire and a man jumping out of another. The Rio Fire Department reporting 6 people found dead. American singer and comedian Oliver Tree among the list of passengers, according to police, though they have not been able to identify any of the bodies yet. Tree was in Rio as part of his solo world tour. The artist was known for his eccentric style and absurdist internet humor, with almost 20 million followers on TikTok. His biggest hit on the platform, 2021's Life Goes On, which has been used in more than 3 million videos. Tonight, an outpouring of tributes for the singer across social media from friends and fellow artists. Tonight, multiple Brazilian authorities, including the Civil Aviation Agency, continue their investigation into the crash. Meanwhile, Tree, in a recent interview, said that in the event of his death, he wanted to donate his wealth to struggling artists through his foundation.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Many of you have asked me to cover the death of a singer by the name of Oliver Tree. Now, when most of you ask me to cover things, sometimes I do my best, especially when I have the time to make content, which of course is no longer because this channel has been demonetized, and of course the lack of Patreon support and the lack of website support has given me less time to make content. But when somebody usually dies, of course, most of the people subscribed to my channel immediately think of a ritual sacrifice because of the suspicious circumstances that surround a lot of these quote-unquote celebrity deaths. Now, when I was asked to cover this, my first response is, who in the world is Oliver Tree? And then when I took a look at Oliver Tree, I immediately thought it was Weird Al Yankovic. But Oliver Tree is supposedly a musician who had a pretty big following online. Now, I wouldn't do this video for the sake of doing this video if, of course, I didn't come across some things that were super suspicious and a lot of things that tie back in to the stuff that I cover on this channel. Of course, these things that you'll see in this video will remind you once again that to be in the club, you've got to be a member of the club. And if you're going to be sacrificed, usually you are a member of the club. And we know that a lot of these people fake their own deaths and exit the stage. That's something that we all know for fact. We know people like Charlie Kirk exited the stage. These are characters on a world stage. But when you look at somebody like Oliver Tree, the majority of you, just like me, likely have no idea who this guy is. So it's hard to say that the character exited the world stage when there's no real purpose of the character exiting the world stage. When somebody like Charlie Kirk exits the world stage, you see what comes of it. You see the left-right divide and how much more amplified it gets when, of course, they give you narratives of a liberal shooter targeting somebody over free speech who didn't do anything wrong, supposedly, other than give his opinions. But the majority of these people that we see on a world stage, of course, are actors. They're characters. They play into the psychosis that we live in, the American experiment. They are the ones responsible for molding your thought process, for pushing stereotypes, and most of the things that we see where people dress a certain way, act a certain way, all based on whoever they feel drawn to on this world stage, right? We can look at movies like The Breakfast Club, where even back then, which of course this has been going on for a long time since television has been shoved down society's throats, but movies like The Breakfast Club, where you have the jock, and you have the weird girl, and you have the pretty girl, and you have the bad boy, and you have the nerd. These are all stereotypes that they've created where they want to fit you into a formula. And that's what the celebrities serve a major purpose in doing. So, that being said, Oliver Tree was somewhat apparently of a celebrity based on what we see from his followers and his, over 7 million Instagram followers. Now, I had never heard of him, but the story, as you hear, is that he died in a helicopter crash, which immediately, number one, we think of Kobe Bryant. If you didn't see my videos on Kobe Bryant, the predictive programming with the helicopter crash and all the other things involving Kobe Bryant, of course, the all-seeing eye symbolism as well. You can watch those videos on my website at callforunuprising.com. But those are the similarities we start with, right? Helicopter, death via helicopter. And of course, over the years, we've seen death via supposed suicide. People like Robin Williams or Chester Bennington, where we're supposed to believe that a lot of these guys who are living normal lives just off themselves. If you know how this whole thing works, when you're asked to do things, when you're inside of this club and you do not do the things that you're asked to do, this is when ritual sacrifice normally occurs. It's like paying your fees. They'll ask you to do something which would usually be to commit a ritual sacrifice. And if you do not do these things, of course, you then get on the wrong side of the list, so to speak, where you are then likely to be ritually sacrificed by one of your own. So let's take a look at Oliver Tree and who he actually is. He's a singer, songwriter, rapper, producer, and internet personality from Santa Cruz, California. Again, he had over 7 million Instagram followers. He was a part of Atlantic Records, where he made albums, of course, music albums, Atlantic Records, currently owned by Warner Music Group. And of course, the majority shareholder is Len Blavatnik. Might as well be Blavatsky, a billionaire businessman of Ukrainian Jewish ethnicity. Why is that important? Well, of course, it's important because, who are the ones responsible for really committing satanic ritual sacrifices, right? Because if you read the books like the Talmud and the Zohar, you'll find out that a certain group of people who are completely protected and are the victims in the eyes of the majority of society are the ones, in fact, who practice ritual sacrifice to this day. They were the same ones who were offering up their children to Baal in the Old Testament. So when we look at Oliver Tree, what we're going to look at real fast here, or as fast as I can possibly go, is Oliver Tree, again, and signs and symbols that rule the world, not words nor laws, what Confucius once said, because they reveal themselves through signs and symbols. Now, in videos, we've seen Oliver Tree doing lots of one-eye symbolism with his glasses. This is usually his calling card when it comes to showing you that he's in the club. He'll tilt his glasses over one eye and have the other eye exposed. A lot of these guys have different ways of doing the all-seeing eye symbolism. Okay, you have the obvious ones that just hold it up, a hand over their eye, or do the 666 over their eye where it's clear as day. And then we'll see people who try to get quirky with it when they put things like this, or do things like this, I should say, with their glasses over their eyes. I talk about the supermodels on magazine covers who will put their hair over their eyes, or a lot of women in Hollywood who you would think aren't in the club that really are in the club, that do magazine photo shoots and then conveniently have hair covering one of their eyes. I've covered this many times over the year. We've seen Oliver Tree here. Here he is doing the devil horn signs. We've seen him doing videos, and on some of his album covers, on, of course, the black and white floor, the Masonic imagery. And here again, doing the all-seeing eye symbolism with his glasses. These are separate pictures from the one you just saw. Here he is again doing it, sitting in a chair next to guns on the wall. You could see clear as day that he's doing the all-seeing eye symbolism. And this is where we start to get into what I really want to cover and why I'm doing this video, because this isn't to get views. Nobody knows who Oliver Tree is. I'm way beyond even attempting to get views. I've been stuck at 548,000 subscribers on this channel since this channel blew up, and it's not because people don't want this content. This channel's obviously been buried. When you're not in the YouTube partner program, you don't get new subs, which I've talked about over the years, which is why I've built out over 90 different channels, which have all been, for the most part, deleted. There's maybe one or two surviving channels, but the things we're going to talk about here are the things that I wanted to cover. I'm not doing this specifically to talk about some guy who perished supposedly in a plane crash, and again, or a helicopter crash. We don't know for sure if he's dead or not, or the character's dead, but we need to look at some of these things because there's a lot of references to Pizzagate. There's a lot of references to child sacrifice. So we start here, right? The obvious. The pyramid inside of the circle, that is behind him, right? We all know the pyramid, that's the capstone. It's very obvious Again, Illuminati symbolism we see on the back again of the dollar bill, which mentions right on there, Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new order of the ages. It literally says a new world order on the back of the dollar bill, your currency. And of course, we have the circle, which represents eternity, the circle that we see obviously in witchcraft. Most movies you've seen where witchcraft is occurring, you'll notice that there's a gigantic circle drawn out on the floor with a pentagram normally inside of it, where they all sit on the outside of this circle and invoke deities and spirits. So we have that circle, I call it the ritual circle, as well as the pyramid inside of it. And then notice what's in his hand, the red balloons. It couldn't be more obvious, right? He didn't just say, I want to sit here, I want fire behind me, a pyramid behind me with a circle behind me, and then I want to be holding on to red balloons. Is he paying homage to the movie It? Because, of course, the first thing most people think of when they see red balloons is It the Clown, but most people don't realize the reference to the red balloon and what they're actually trying to tell you, right? So It, obviously, we always see carrying around a red balloon. And what is It always going after in those horror films? And in the book by Stephen King, he's going after children, trying to kill and sacrifice children. I talked about this recently in my video about Dick Van Dyke and how Dick Van Dyke living to be 100, right? And the coding behind the red balloons and that red liquid sauce that they all love to drink that you think is folklore that goes back to vampires, but you don't realize that the origin of vampires actually goes back to what they call the blood libel, when a certain group of people were caught and involved in ritual sacrifice of children, as I mentioned earlier, that goes back to Baal, and happen to be drinking that red liquid sauce, and they still crave that red liquid sauce, which, of course, if you're not understanding what I'm saying, it's the red liquid that's inside of your body, just not yours, that of a little child. We've seen this red balloon symbolism with the daughter of, or son of, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, where they put her or him on a magazine cover holding the red balloon. You'll see it in films, horror films, or many films that depict children going missing or being abducted. The red balloon will always surface. And of course, again, this goes back to It. And for those of you that don't know, the story with It, the clown, which again, Stephen King, who writes all of this predictive programming because he's in the occult, not because he's a great writer. All of his books have predictive programming going into movies like Maximum Overdrive. He wasn't writing a story about cars coming to life and running people over. He was obviously foreshadowing the future of autonomous vehicles, which nobody knew about or couldn't even fathom the possibility of in the 1980s. I mean, we can go through Stephen King over and over and over again with The Stand and other movies that obviously involve massive pandemics, or just we could stick with It, which again, obviously the most notable thing everyone remembers from It is the clown going after children and carrying around those red balloons. But what most people don't realize is that the book actually ends with all of the children in the story. In order to get rid of It the Clown, they all get involved in a gigantic orgy together. Yes, young, little children. And they remove that, of course, from the movie because they don't want you to be, catching on too much in this world to what and who these people actually are. So the red balloon represents ritual sacrifice and, of course, that red liquid that is in all of our bodies, although I'd say not all of us, because some of these people, as we know, aren't even human. It's likely they actually have black goo inside of their bodies. They even recently, of course, talked about Jeffrey Epstein, which I've covered, which, again, you wouldn't know who Jeffrey Epstein was unless the government wanted you to know who he was. It was a creation of the government to give you all of this stuff with Epstein. It doesn't mean he wasn't a real person involved in pedophilia. If you actually study Epstein or watch the videos I've done, the main thing that he and all of these people from Silicon Valley and Donald Trump are involved in is the eugenics projects, okay? The eugenics project, breeding a hybrid race of human beings, doing this, of course, through technology and, of course, satanic ritual abuse. But they even gave you this Epstein 50th birthday book where they show him giving little balloons and candy to young children. Of course, all this stuff with Epstein was created as a massive distraction. Not saying that these people aren't pedophiles. We all know that they are, but they gave you a list. They gave you a character who exited the world stage to get you to stare at it day in and day out. And it took attention away from what? All that stuff that was going on at that pizza parlor. And for people out there that say that everything that happened at Comet Ping Pong was a psyop, you are completely wrong. It was not fed to us by the government. It was discovered via many different things. I know it was mentioned in WikiLeaks, which made people very suspicious, but all you had to do was go on James Alifantis, the owner of the ping pong places, Instagram account. You could see pictures from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or however long Instagram's been around, posting pictures of children with money near them, with their clothes off, with pizza slices on their crotch, etc. And that's where Pizzagate was formed, and people like me obviously blew up during that time period because we were breaking down, I specifically was breaking down all of the connections with all of the stores on that block, the underground connection that we saw underneath that whole area that led to Washington, D.C., places like the White House, where we know that children were being trafficked, of course, the Masonic Lodge that was there, as well as all of the pizza parlors and other suspicious places that were right next door to another pizza parlor, right? And then, of course, Comet Ping Pong, having been inside of the White House, where you think to yourself, how does a guy who runs a pizza parlor get into the White House and play ping pong with Obama at 2 o'clock in the morning and bring young children into the White House? There were all the things with the bands that played there. I mean, most of you probably don't remember it. The videos, again, are available on the website, but it was a massive diversion, everything with Epstein from Pizzagate. Now, some people out there are saying that this guy was trying to expose what was really going on. There's interviews with him talking about Lockheed Martin, about building underground bunkers. But if you look at the character that this guy's playing, he plays a very goofy, like I said, Weird Al type of character where, you could just look at him and obviously your first instinct is going to be like he's a knucklehead type of character, right? A weirdo type of character. So when those types of characters start talking about conspiracies like Lockheed Martin and what the government's really doing with technology, it obviously is going to make the majority of people out there dismiss it because they're going to say, well, look who it's coming from. This guy's got a mullet down to his knees. Right? It discredits a lot of the stuff. So I do not believe that this guy was revealing things, but it could very, very well be the case. He likely, like I said, did not do what he was told to do. And of course, what ends up happening is these people are usually ritually sacrificed or just they fake their deaths. But you have to remember when they do fake a death, there has to be something bigger behind it where you see a character exiting a stage and a reaction is caused. This guy is not really very popular or well known. It's not like they're saying don't fly helicopters anymore. It's an easy way to obviously off somebody when you have helicopters crashing into each other. But this is what I wanted to get into with the Pizzagate stuff, right? So you could see here some imagery of him laying on the floor dead, one arm up, one arm down. Again, that's the Baphomet, as above, so below, with all of the pizza slices laying next to him in the empty boxes of pizza. There's even an image of him laying dead on the ground with his arms out with the all-seeing eye symbolism, again with the glasses that we've seen over and over again. And when I talk about him laying on the ground and you see his arms, one arm up, one below, don't forget with the Baphomet, Comet Ping Pong, again, the pizza place where all this stuff was exposed, where now people think of pizza and see celebrities with pizza and they think of Pizzagate, that the Comet Ping Pong logo had the crescent moon and the pentagram, just like the Baphomet, the crescent moon, right, on the sides, at the top left, the bottom right. And notice the arms, as above, so below, and the pentagram right on the forehead of the Baphomet who they worship. So there's this video that I want to play for you from Oliver Tree, okay? It's called Mr. Pizza. It's very strange, right? And when you're a character like Oliver Tree, you're going to be able to get away with stuff like this because everybody just thinks he's an artist. This is what they hide behind, right? He's an artist. They're weird. They're strange. You don't understand what they're doing. They're being goofy, but they're revealing truth to you in plain sight, which is part of universal law. They reveal who they are and what these people really are involved in, right? So I'm going to play for you these clips. Look at some of these screenshots I'm showing you. Never be with Mr. Pizza alone, right? Mr. Pizza here, standing there next to him, and then Mr. Pizza being under arrest. He says, Mr. Pizza, you're under arrest for giving candy to a young child. They show Mr. Pizza being arrested. They even have sexual kind of undertones where he's holding a banana poking at Mr. Pizza. Of course, that's a reference to a penis, okay, a phallus, which again, we know that the occult is obsessed with phallus and phallus worship, which is what all of these obelisks, like the one in Washington, D.C., that you see all around the world, they represent Baal's shaft. But let me play for you these clips. Now, keep in mind all the stuff I mentioned with Pizzagate, because then it'll make more sense about what's being revealed here, right? The pizza man is going after your children, and they're saying, no, don't go with him. They're going to arrest the pizza man. Then what happens? They arrest the pizza man, but the judge, who's in on it as well, because we know that the courts are all run by the same people. It says it in their books, the Talmud, the Zohar, etc., that they're above the law, that they run and control the court systems, that they'll never actually be found guilty. And again, when they have characters like Jeffrey Epstein presented to you as being guilty, they don't really go to jail. They don't get off in jail. They go to a place called Israel. They go to Tel Aviv, and they put on a mask and they get plastic surgery, etc., and you never hear from them again. But look at this bizarre video, and you can't tell me that this isn't all coding about pizza, pedophilia, and how these people get away with these crimes.
Identificar a Mr. Pizza. Si un adulto te dice, esto es nuestro secreto, no le digas a tus padres. Eres muy maduro para tu edad.
Eso suena a Mr. Pizza.
O si Mr. Pizza te ofrece dulces, tarjetas de Roblox, o si un adulto te invita a su casa, dile, nunca estés a solas con Mr. Pizza. Mr. Pizza te quiere comer, no.
Hey, sir. Hey, little girl.
No te asustes. ¿Alguna vez has probado los dulces? Oh, no. ¡Policía!
What do you want, amigo?
Mr. Pizza le está dando dulces a mi amiga Katie.
Pizza? What kind of pizza?
¿Qué?
Pineapple? Margarita?
No.
Broccoli jalapeno popper anchovy deluxe?
¿Eso existe?
Oh, yeah, you gotta try it. Pepperoni?
Sí.
That's the worst kind of pizza.
¿Quieres más?
Sí.
Tengo más en mi casa. ¿Qué de tu casa?
Mr. Pizza, you're under arrest for giving candy to a kid.
Si puedes.
Come on, kid. You're my witness.
No puedo creer que al fin lo atraparon.
Oh, he's not going to jail.
¿Por qué no?
Judge Pizza's never put one of his own behind bars. He's innocent. What? He's innocent. Oh, no.
So again, the judge says innocent. Mr. Pizza will never be arrested. So some people saw this video and said, well, maybe he was actually going to reveal the truth, and there could be truth to that as well. Maybe he was revealing too much in some of these videos that he's putting out. We could all look at it and say, but who is he? Why does it matter? But he does have a large following out there. He does have millions and millions of people who do follow his Instagram account. We might all look at it and say, who is following this guy? But the truth is in the numbers for some of these characters that are out there. Maybe he was revealing a little bit too much in this pizza video, in showing himself on the floor dead. Now, again, we see the all-seeing eye symbolism, which tells us, of course, that he's in the club. And we all know that he's in the club because they're all in the club. Now, you can become popular on YouTube, like my channel became popular on YouTube. Other people have become popular on YouTube. But we know that to be in the club, to be allowed to do the things that you're doing, okay, you're going to become very, very popular like someone like him, not just minimally popular. And you're going to build a large following if you are in the club. They will allow that. In fact, they will promote you. And of course, when we see them dating other celebrities, that's just a telltale sign, because we know that these celebrities are all part of the same bloodlines. They're all related to each other. And conveniently, Oliver Tree's ex was Melanie Martinez, who you might say, I have no idea who this is. But I've actually done videos years and years ago when I first started, when I was breaking down music video after music video after music video, when they were in the trending section, which no longer exists on YouTube, which might be because of someone like me. Well, obviously I'm not important enough to get rid of the trending section, but I would go through the trending section almost daily, and I would see, what are they pushing to kids? What are they pushing to people out there? What are they mind controlling them with? We would see some of the ridiculous challenges and stupid things they would get people to do, which were really rituals in disguise, like I've covered, like the ice bucket challenge and stuff like that. And then we'd see all the music videos of these singers we never heard of, like Melanie Martinez. And the videos would be filled with things like demonic possession, ritual sacrifice, and we'd see the all-seeing eye stuff. So I covered Melanie Martinez, who clearly you could see here with the black and white hair, the Masonic hair, which we've seen Sia do as well. And these wonderful photos of them together when they dated. Here they are laying in a casket together. I'm sure for any of you who have a significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, you're married, fiance, I'm sure you're just like thinking about things like this. You're like, let's get pictures together. But instead of us taking pictures outside by a tree or something like that, why don't we take a picture together holding hands inside of a coffin? All right? Oh, yeah. Right? These are real normal behaviors from these freaks in, I'd say Hollywood, but I don't really know if we could even count either of them as major celebrities. But again, with the internet, we could say almost everybody's technically a celebrity because these people end up building large followings. The days of celebrities like Warren Beatty and Jack Nicholson, those days are over. Pretty much there's just thousands and thousands of these people that we never hear of. So Oliver Tree was in a relationship with Melanie Martinez. I'm pointing this out because here's some stuff with Melanie Martinez that's very suspicious. Here you see Melanie doing the all-seeing eye symbolism. I guess she loves eyeballs. She's a failed optometrist. Just like all these celebrities in Hollywood who love taking pictures, holding up eyes over their eyes, even wearing an eyeball necklace like Katy Perry and every other one that we see. This is a tour cover for Melanie Martinez. You can see the 666 hand symbol being done. Again, that's the 666 hand sign. You want to sit there and say, that's not what Melanie Martinez is doing. What is she doing? A MAGA sign? Because now you're told that's the MAGA sign. Is she saluting John Cena, the wrestler? No, this is the 666 hand sign. Then if you look at the videos, again, Melanie Martinez, nothing original. We see it with all these celebrities from Eminem, the Lady Barf Bag, demonic possession. You can see the black eyeballs here. You could see the cannibalism theme, okay, adreno and cannibalism, which is the common theme, covered in blood, biting her fingers, right? These people are sick and demented. Then if you even go through Melanie Martinez's YouTube channel recently, 3 months ago, Disney Princess, where you can see the shattered glass, the princess programming, which of course, this type of programming is pushed through Disney, right, on children. You ever think about why there's all these movies about princesses on children and all these little girls dressed as princesses and queens, etc. Okay, we see the princess programming here with the shattered glass, which again, the shattered glass symbolizes MK Ultra and altered personalities, which this is how they program these people. They put them through trauma-based mind control at a young age, which includes satanic ritual abuse, among other traumas and tortures that they put them through. That's how they program them. Here's Melanie Martinez's recent video called Possession, right? I mean, these are things over years and years and years. The Black Eyes is from 10 years ago. Here's another video about demonic possession. And the Mad Hatter video is the one I'm referencing that I covered many years ago, where she showed, of course, going down that rabbit hole, but she was really referencing adrenochrome in the video with the rabbit holding up the pills, right? For anyone who doesn't know, the red liquid I'm referring to, the adreno, the compound for it looks like a rabbit. They use the rabbit as a code for that, which is why you see these bizarre pictures all the time from people like Ariana Grande, where they're wearing rabbit ears, they're covered in blood, and they seem to be committing cannibalistic acts, right? So in this video, Melanie Martinez, again, is demon-possessed. They show her in a bathtub, which represents the baptism, the satanic baptism. They're baptized, again, in Satanism, just like most Christians are baptized in Christianity. You could see the hands around her, right, ready to eat her. And what ends up happening, of course, is she picks up this little cookie doll, which you could see arms and legs, so it's depicting a human. She bites on the cookie, and you can see from the facial expression and the supposed, jelly dripping that it's blood, that this whole video is really about human ritual sacrifice. And again, this goes back to Baal worship. And I'm tying all this together with Melanie Martinez, who is an ex of Oliver Tree, because right now, today, if you look up what's Melanie Martinez doing, well, she's currently touring right now. She's on tour for her fourth studio album, which happens to be called Hades, which is the underworld, which, I mean, as Christians, most of us would interpret as hell. And it's called Hades, the Sacrifice, right? How convenient. So she's on tour talking about sacrifice as apparently what it appears to have occurred here could be a human sacrifice of Oliver Tree, which of course we'll never know. You could speculate all you want about it, but what we can look at is the actual evidence, things that these people say through signs and symbols, right? We see them doing all the all-seeing eye symbolism, the pyramid symbolism, the red balloon symbolism, which is all clear-cut occult symbolism that references child sacrifice. And then when you look at the pizza videos, you could say, well, maybe he was trying to reveal something. Maybe he was through his pizza videos. Maybe he had a falling out with his Jewish record label, and maybe they thought he was going too far. It's very, very possible, because we know they commit human sacrifice. Now, I'm just saying one way or the other. I don't know. I don't know him. I don't have actual physical proof. But if you look at this video, you could see a lot of things that will make you go, interesting, especially the references to the red balloons and the consistent references to pizza, including being dead on the floor, surrounded by pizza boxes, doing the as above, so below symbolism with the all-seeing eye, as well as that very bizarre video he uploaded where he says, let's arrest Mr. Pizza, and how Mr. Pizza will never actually go to jail, that the court system is rigged against Mr. Pizza, Mr. Pizza. It's rigged against the regular person. So the people involved in, pizza, which is code word for pedophilia, those people will always walk, and they'll never, ever be convicted of their crimes. How ironic, which is, again, the stuff we see with Epstein. Not saying that he's not a pedo. If you look at Epstein's backfire, of course he is involved in it. Is he dead? No, he's not dead. It's a rabbit hole that the government is feeding you that you'll never get to the bottom of, because none of these people will ever be prosecuted. None of these people will ever be arrested for it. And most people who follow the Epstein stuff and the Epstein files don't say, well, where's the information coming from? Well, it's coming directly from the government themselves, because if they didn't want you to know who Jeffrey Epstein was, they wouldn't have told you. They would have just quietly offed him if Jeffrey Epstein was going to expose all of these people. He wouldn't be a household name. You wouldn't hear his name mentioned at the Oscars and any of these major events on national television. Everybody knows who he is because they want you to know. But what most people don't know about Epstein, in addition to the stuff that they do know, which is stuff fed to you about flight logs, etc., is his involvement in eugenics with people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and Donald Trump, who have been practicing eugenics and plan to continue to practice eugenics in the future with all of us using technology and transhumanism. And you can look into, obviously, the stuff I've covered with Neuralink, smart dust, and everything else that they're trying to do to get underneath our skin. So Oliver Tree, a supposed celebrity musician, is dead, supposedly. But you could see all of the bizarre coincidences, including the constant references to the red balloons and the pizza with the all-seeing eye symbolism, as well as his relationship with Melanie Martinez, who happens to be on tour talking about ritual sacrifice and has shown it in many videos. I've only covered a few of Melanie Martinez because most people don't know who Melanie Martinez is, but she has 17 million subscribers on YouTube. She shows you in her videos, eating what appears to be a young child disguised as a donut or a cookie, right? Shows you all the little things in there with trauma-based mind control, Disney princess, possession, demon possession, right? And her eyes going black. Very, very interesting indeed. We know that these people are all involved. If they're in the club, they're involved in ritual sacrifice, and that does include them sacrificing their own, because they will and they do. Like the scene I've shown you in the past from the movie The Believers, where they show you and tell you how you're asked to offer one of your own, and if you don't offer one of your own, or if you don't do what you're told, then you yourself could potentially be offered by someone else in the club. And again, all my videos on Pizzagate, ritual sacrifice, all available on the website at callforuprising.com. It is $2.99 a month to join. It's the price of a bottle of water. Thousands of videos available over on the website. You can go through my 10 years plus of videos. I think it's more than that, but of videos that I've done that are over there, which have been scrubbed off of YouTube and other platforms. And I recommend people go over there. You can share information with me and others in the forum. You can share things that you're seeing, stories that are going on. You can interact with other like-minded people as well, all for the price of a cup of coffee. It's actually cheaper than a cup of coffee and a bottle of water in the year 2026. It's $2.99 a month. And the reason I charge for the website, again, is number one, when the channel was popular, I had to put a charge wall on it because people were flooding over to the website, putting up, all sorts of profane things, fighting with people, causing, ridiculous stuff on the website, which nobody wants. Nobody goes to the website for that. You get that kind of crap on free platforms like YouTube. And the paywall, again, I had to put up for the reasoning of getting all my content on there, because I pay a premium to be able to fit all of my videos there. It's not free for me to upload thousands of videos and all the hours of videos. You have to have obviously a certain amount of capacity that I pay for monthly to be able to contain all that on the website. So $2.99 is not a big price to pay for what you get over there, but if you don't want to, that's perfectly fine as well. It does support the channel. And if you want to support the channel other ways and see more content and make it so that I can make more content more often, please consider becoming a patron, or the PayPal link is linked as well in the comment section and in the description box underneath the video. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.